I thank the member for Pearce for speaking on this important topic and for bringing this motion to the chamber. I have 5 children and the 4 youngest are enrolled in fantastic public schools in my electorate of Bass. As the elected member in a region where there are more than 35 public schools, I've joined the fight to ensure that every school receives 100% of its funding. The Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development says that success in education can be defined as a combination of high levels of achievement and high levels of equity, and that equity in education is also a matter of design and as such should become a core objective of any strategy to improve an education system. Ensuring equity of opportunity for all children is something that should be above politics, so I happily threw my support behind the Australian Education Union's campaign calling on the federal government to ensure every public school is funded up to a basic benchmark level known as the Schooling Resource Standard. As a proud former member of Ravenswood Primary in the 1980s and a regular visitor to the current school now known as Ravenswood Heights Primary School, I've seen firsthand the dedication of its amazing teachers and the passion its principal Jason Gunn has to provide the very best educational opportunities to their school community. But a funding shortfall of close to $600,000 last year makes it extremely difficult to meet the needs of many of its students. What would addressing this funding shortfall mean to the Ravenswood Heights Primary School community? It could mean employing an additional 5 teachers or teachers' assistants or an additional school psychologist. However the funding was carved up, the opportunity exists to reduce class sizes, provide specialist support and improve student and teacher wellbeing. From Lilydale Primary School, over $700,000 in underfunding. Scottsdale High School and Youngtown Primary School, both more than $600,000 in underfunding. Every single public school in my electorate of Bass, in fact every public school across the state, is underfunded to the tune of $118 million. A stark comparison to private schools, which were found in a report by independent education economist Adam Rorris to be overfunded by $7 million. Now, I don't want to turn this into a fight of public versus private. Independent schools most certainly have their place and parents should have a choice. But let's be real and recognise that that choice is only available for those who can afford it. As the Tasmanian Association of State Schools organisation has stated, they believe current funding practices are pitting government and non-government schools against each other. Every child deserves their schooling to meet the minimum educational standards, and the unfair division of funding is fostering unnecessary divisions. It's not just providing additional assistance for teachers and students and tackling the problem of overcrowded classrooms. It could also mean that other school funds could be diverted to upgrading school facilities. I've visited many wonderful schools, both public and private, across my electorate over the past 4.5 years, and I've witnessed a stark disparity between the haves and the have-nots when it comes to facilities and basic amenities. And I mean basic. At a minimum, they deserve classrooms free of mould, heating that works and functional bathrooms. Addressing the funding shortfall will also go a long way to relieving the pressure on overworked teachers who are leaving the profession in droves. An AEU survey found that even with new teachers, 39% were planning to leave the profession within a decade. As I spoke about earlier today, there is a significant teacher shortage, and I commend the Tasmanian Government for several initiatives that they are taking to recruit and retain teachers, but ensuring that public schools are funded 100%, giving schools the ability to hire additional teachers if they choose, will alleviate much of the pressure that they're facing. I acknowledge the recent in-principle agreement between the Federal Government and the Western Australian Government to deliver 100% of the SRS by 2026. While the funding is tied to reforms under the National Schools Agreement, there is a lack of detail as to exactly what these reforms are. Deputy Speaker, research has shown that for the period between 2008 and 2022, the gap between high and low socioeconomic status Year 3 students has widened substantially, and low SES students are on average 5 years behind the high SES students by Year 9. None of us should be comfortable with these numbers or standing by as this divide continues to grow. All of our children, no matter their postcode or where they live, should have access to good quality education, and if the federal government delays taking further action to fix the gap now, we will continue to pay for the shortfall in outcomes for generations to come.